This week's coverage is brought to you by Arkanesis, the proud creators of the Naus Flow system. You may have seen some of their boats around the boat park and around the racing arena here at Henley Royal Regatta. That's because they're also the official data providers of British rowing. Coaches love the Arkanesis system. You get live 500-metre splits, you get cadence and all sorts of bits live fed to coaches from the water, and it makes debriefing after a session incredibly efficient and provides you with so many analytics to take forward into future training.
Well, hello everyone, welcome back to the balcony here at Henley Royal Regatta. It's the Thursday, tea break is coming towards an end because we've heard the roars of Molesey Boat Club as they're boating their A boat and their C boat for the Wargrave Challenge Cup coming up later on today. I'm Fergus Mainland, joined once again by Zoe de Toledo, and today it's Lara Robinson, JRN's UK British lead. Is that the official title?
Head of UK Racing Content.
Head of UK Racing Content. And actually, the queen of Fantasy Henley Women's.
Yes, the winner of Fantasy Henley Women's. Not sure how that happened, but it did.
Fantastic. And how are your Henley Royal Regatta picks going so far?
Oh, I'm really enjoying the streaks actually. It's getting quite competitive in the press box with the streaks, I have to say. But we'll see how the overall picks go.
Fantastic. Zoe, Thursday of Henley Royal, the intermediate events are coming into the mix, the premier events are coming into the mix as well. It's been a good day so far today, hasn't it?
There has been some really exciting racing today, actually, and we're nearly halfway through the regatta now.
I know.
Which is both exciting and also
sad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some of the ladies' plate started this morning, which is one of my favourite events, and there's another race this afternoon for that. But again, some of the student racing has been fantastic today. But yeah, some really close finishes, some changes of lead. Good stuff today.
It certainly is. Lara, the student racing seems like a fantastic place to start. And let's start with the Island Challenge Cup for the student women's eights. The racing there has been electric. There's been some big hitters have been racing today. What stood out to you from the Island Challenge Cup?
Yeah, for sure. We've definitely seen some of the big names start to get going in the island. And I think the race of the day has to go to Cambridge University. Their B crew turning over Yale's A outfit. What a race. I mean, to come from behind like that against such a strong Yale crew, just incredible. But also to see the likes of Brooks get going, and then also Edinburgh versus Durham was a great race. So yeah, all around brilliant to see in the women's student side of things today.
I think today was the first time I ever said the phrase "Come on, Cambridge."
Wow.
Yeah.
It's groundbreaking.
Because Matilda Horn was coaching it, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful human, and that crew looked incredible during that race, that Cambridge B crew.
Well, I think it's fascinating because obviously last year and in recent years there's been a huge amount of success for the US programs coming across, and Rutgers, of course, came out of nowhere breaking records to win last year. But Zoe, for a B crew, Cambridge's B crew, and we know how strong the Cambridge women have been, but they didn't win the boat race this year. That went to Oxford, but it still tells you that there's still life, there's still fire in the UK university scene, isn't there?
Absolutely. And I'd been looking at Yale during the week, and I know we said this yesterday, I don't know how to pick a crew for the island, but Yale were up there as one of my potentials for the weekend. So to see them go, I mean, did they have a bad day? Did Cambridge have the race of their life? Maybe a bit of both. Or maybe, like you say, it's actually just we're seeing a really, really strong contingent of UK women's student crews.
Yeah, a momentum continuing for Cambridge because they went out, they raced Miami, and so we've got two Cambridge crews through. Bad day to be from the United States of America. But Cambridge is going from success to success at the moment, aren't they? Yeah,
as much as I hate to admit it as an Oxford fan, it is just the depth on show there is incredible. I mean, even that A crew, they've got girls in there who are in the blue boat, and they've also got people who race the spare four. And similarly with their B crew, there's athletes in that boat that didn't make a crew for the boat races. So fair play to them. I have to take my hat off to whatever's going on down in Ely, because it's clearly something special.
No, I appreciate this is difficult lines of conversation for you both. I mean, you're wearing your dark blue blazer. You've been part of the Oxford system this year as well. But we'll steer away from Cambridge then. We'll come on to Oxford later on in the show. We've got an interview with Paddy Ryan. I hope we can get through that first of all. But before we get to that, I think we had a great win for Durham University, who went very well against Edinburgh. Washington looked outstanding as they took down Newcastle. But I think one Zoe that was outstanding, who were really exciting, here from the Netherlands. I don't think I quite got the pronunciation going
not
there.
Bad.
It's all
bad,
right, okay.
Yeah.
But they looked particularly impressive. Okay, it was Oxford Brooks B, but I thought they looked outstanding out there on the course today.
Yeah, they weren't a crew that I'd really seen much of or heard much about, but then maybe we shouldn't be surprised because the Dutch come over on the men's side and on the women's side. They consistently produce good crews, fast crews, race-winning crews, event-winning crews, but they did look like a really slick outfit today.
Yeah, they did. Well, the crew of the day that we had out there on the water at the moment was that one from Cambridge University B, who of course took down Yale University's top boat in the Island Challenge Cup. And after that performance, we caught up with their head coach, Paddy Ryan.
Great. So we're here with Paddy Ryan, CUBC Women's Chief Coach, and just got off the water with Cambridge University B, who've nicely dispatched Yale A out of the Island Challenge Cup. So Paddy, must have been some pre-race chat. How are we feeling?
Yeah, to be honest, the respect we hold for Yale is huge. And I feel like the progress we've been making, the boat race was the boat race, but actually in terms of the depth of the squad, the buy-in of the athletes to what we're trying to do has just been improving year on year. And, the athletes all did bumps and stuff, but I couldn't be prouder of the way trust me, they drove me nuts, but actually they did all the training through bumps and stuff, and they were, they did not sacrifice a session for thing as well as doing their bumps. And I think we've really paid dividends in terms of the hole they dug and the way we were able to use that to our advantage this year, probably better than we've ever done it before. So, and having 2.8s means that they're able to, work with each other. It's been a very memorable summer campaign. Lots of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously a Cambridge absence at Henley Women's, obviously like you say with the bumps racing, but great to see racing through bucks. And then obviously this crew, a composite of lightweights, open weights, a real mix here.
Yeah. I mean, both boats have a composite. Yeah. So the A boat has blue boat athletes, blondie and a spare, and this boat has blondies, lightweights and spares in it. And we're just continuing to build the style we want to row, the tenacity we're trying to race with, and hopefully that's attracting more and more people. It's the numbers for next year looking a bit scary, to be honest, but there we go. That's a good thing, I'm told.
Great, good to hear. And looking ahead now to tomorrow, obviously progressing to Friday, the Island Challenge Cup. How are you going to be preparing your athletes tonight, looking ahead to perhaps not a position they thought they'd be in this evening, but as definitely going as the underdogs?
Yeah, I think we won't change anything from, I guess in some ways both, the A crew's going up against Washington. Who are we racing in the next round? I as you said, we couldn't see, struggled to see past this moment, but I was just really proud of how they raced. I think, we don't tend to focus on like winning or losing so much. We tend to, it's like how we're going to race and the things, and if that's enough, then that's enough. Our society likes to do the whole winning and losing enough that they do it automatically, so why we don't need to focus on that too. I think it's about recovery. It's just about recovery and how we turn up and the attitude we bring. We can't really teach them more. I think all we can do is make sure that we're driving that attitude and the tenacity and be in it.
Thank you so much to Paddy Ryan for your time earlier on today, and congratulations to the incredibly successful Cambridge programme. And I think we will probably continue to talk about some of their success as we steer on to the Temple and the men's student side of things. But Lara, we'll come on to that later on, because there's been some other really impressive wins in the Temple Challenge Cup today, hasn't there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've already seen Cambridge's top boat in the Temple go out today. A really impressive win against the University of Bristol, who are, in their own right, an impressive crew. So great to see that boat go on and progress to Friday. Also, University of Washington, it goes without saying, what a tidy race from them. And also Neris facing their A and B crews together in the Temple. Some really deep crews going into this event.
Oh, it is. And I think that Nero's crew, Zoe, I think as we've mentioned, have looked so good all regatta, and I think there's been a lot of chat coming out of the Netherlands saying how good they are. But even when you go up against a B crew, they looked outstanding, didn't they?
I mean, their B crew looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just a shame they had to come up against the A crew. And I think what was impressive about them was you could see the consistency in style across the both crews, which just shows how strong their coaching methodology must be there to produce two crews that looked so good and so similar.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the other big one, Lara, that everyone had their eyes on, it was the race between Laha and Wesleyan, the Division 3 program from the United States. seats. I mean, that was probably one of the races of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Watching that come down the track, again from the press box, trying to work out who was in front any of the way. Really, really impressive row from both crews. And again, just the depth going on in the Temple this year is incredible.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it before, but I think there's probably about 3 or 4 crews that could win it. I think having watched Nero's, I can't remember who I was chatting to. I think it was probably Tom Morgan at some point.
Don't talk to anyone else.
No, my time is rarely filled with anyone else. But I think I was saying that I had managed to convince myself beforehand that how good Washington were coming into it, how good Nero's were coming into it, but then eventually in fantasy rowing I actually picked Cambridge to win it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I don't quite understand that logic. But on the other side of the student racing, Zoe, on the Prince Albert side of things, Oxford University have been going very well, haven't they?
Yeah, they had a good day. So their A crew won against Brooks B in the morning, which I think a couple of years ago you probably would have been quite surprised to hear that result. Obviously, Brooks B crew is far from their top guys. But then actually more impressive later on was their B crew in the PA, who raced and beat Saurus from the Netherlands, who were their top guys. And they just rode a really solid race. They went out there hard, and Saurus had a great start, but Oxford just looked comfortable enough and confident enough in themselves to kind of relax into it, and they just moved on past. It was really impressive. Saw off any attacks from Saurus later, and was very impressed with the maturity of that race.
Yeah, massively. And Lara, talk to me a little bit about these 2 Oxford boats, because obviously difficult year for the Oxford men in the boat race, but to have both boats firing nicely in the Prince Albert has to be encouraging for them.
Yeah, super impressive. I mean, we've seen them come through Met, we've seen them come through Marlow with wins for the A crew in particular, with the B crew also making A finals, and really, really impressed to see them both go to Friday. I think, especially as the B crew, as the only B crew left in the Prince Albert, super impressive to see this from Oxford men in what was a tough year, but I think it's a real credit to them to show how much they've stepped on under Mark Fangenhall in the last few months in particular, and really hoping to see them both make Saturday maybe. But yeah.
Well, I think they could be down as favourites. Wow, yeah. I mean, I'd have Newcastle on, I think, to win.
Of course you did.
Of course I would.
In a shocking turn
In a shocking turn of events.
Yeah.
Who's this boating at the moment? Is that UL? That's UL boating for their Ireland race at the moment. In a shocking turn of events, I picked Newcastle. But I think away from that, I think Oxford are the red hot favourites from the UK, but I still think it could go internationally as well.
I'm really excited to see Oxford A go up against Harvard tomorrow. I think that'll be a real thrill of a race.
And I think what will be fascinating is the weather conditions for that one, because if it's tailwind, it's the Harvard lightweights who have been so dominant all season and gone undefeated. So I think if it's a tailwind, I think it might favour them. But if it's a headwind, what have we got? We've got a stonking tailwind at the moment. But I think if it turns around and it favours the heavyweights, then I suspect it could be Oxford. But Zoe, more broadly, we've got some great other Oxford crews racing at the regatta as well, don't we?
So I mean, my main pick would be their women's pair, Kyra and Esther. I think they look brilliant. They look great when they raced at Henley Women's Regatta. So I'm excited to see them get going against some of the sort of internationally selected crews later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've had plenty of racing in the Prince Albert Challenge Cup this morning. We also had Imperial running out winners over Birmingham. Newcastle came out on top ahead of Durham University. But one of the races that we have already spoken about today, it was that Oxford University B crew against Saurus from the Netherlands. And we caught up with that winning dark blue combination earlier on today.
I'm here with Dylan for the bow seat of the Oxford University B crew in the Prince Albert. Dylan just had a nice little win against Saurus from the Netherlands.
Yep.
How are we feeling?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. On to Friday.
Yeah. Last remaining B crew in the PA as well. And I mean, they went out slightly ahead off the end of the island. How was that feeling?
Honestly, it's news to me. We were sort of told to stay quite internal, so I didn't even realise. But yeah, very exciting to be the last B crew in the PA. I think it's a sign of the depth that we're trying to build at Oxford, so very exciting, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. As an Oxford fan as well, great to see you guys go deep into Friday. How are the conditions out there as well? It looks like it's getting pretty windy.
Yeah, it was pretty chaotic. It changed a bit throughout the race, but yeah, just got to stay loose and see what you can do.
Great. Well, best of luck tomorrow. And
Thank you.
See you on Friday.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations to Oxford University's B crew who advance on in the Prince Albert Challenge Cup. But I feel we've done what we so often do, or what I so often do. I control the narrative and I end up talking about the student
Newcastle.
stuff.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, well, the student stuff, subtitled Newcastle. Anyway, but let's look further afield, Lara. Let's go to the bridge, because we had Headington setting records previously in the Prince Philip. We've had the same again, haven't we, in the bridge?
Yeah, for sure. So Leander went up against a very tiny, actually, Dutch outfit from Orca and Focus. And all 3 records went at the hands of Leander. A really, really tidy looking outfit from that Leander A crew in the bridge, and really exciting to see them progress further, especially on to tomorrow.
Yeah, of course, the bridge made its debut last year, won by Thames Rowing Club, and the field this year, I feel, has stepped on. Is there anyone else that you're particularly excited to see racing in the bridge?
I'm obviously excited to see the Molesey UL composite, especially having seen them race through Henley Women's, and they are my fantasy rowing picks, so I'll have all eyes on them later in the week. But just an incredible time for women's rowing. I'm really excited to see how the quality continues to step on this week.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of quality stepping on, Zoe, I know you had your eyes on some of the races in the Foley Challenge Cup today, didn't you?
Yeah, so I think there was a really fun race, which was one of those A versus B crews, and you think, I was calling it, and I was thinking, this is going to be another one, it's the A crew gets ahead, and then that's that. But it was Belen Jesuit to a Miami crew racing their A's versus B's, and the B crew just went for it. And they were leading by a good length at one point, and not just, they led to the end of the island. They were leading a long way down the track. And actually, we were starting to question whether or not the B crew were going to win this. And then I think, it started to come apart for them, and the A crew went through. But incredibly impressive from that B crew. I would probably put that as my performance of the day, actually, because it was just, having the heart to go out and do that, I think, is incredible.
Yeah, it was brave, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just looking over your shoulder. I get distracted by all the boats that are racing. Who's that? But Nearhouse, I think, for the island, they're just boating. We've got Syracuse heading out. I'm expecting them to win, which would set up a nice Friday race against Washington in the Temple Challenge Cup. And we've got one of the...
Is that Molesey for the Danesfield?
Is that the Danesfield?
Oh no, it's a Cantab's crew, yeah.
Cantab's crew for the Danesfield. There we go, it's all kicking off. We've talked about the Foley just there. The Diamond Jubilee served up another corker today, didn't it, Lara?
What a race from George Heriot's school to take out Los Gatos today. I mean, one of the crews that maybe would have had money on to go to the weekend, perhaps, but George Heriot's, what a race from them to take it on the line, essentially, after being down for essentially the whole course.
Yeah.
Super impressive.
Oh, so impressed by them, and I think Los Gatos came in as the US national champions. George Heriot's were 5th at the National Schools Regatta, I think it was. So I know we talked previously about the strength of sweep rowing, student sweep rowing, Lara. Sculling in the UK is better than anywhere else in the UK, and I think that's a statement people will struggle to prove wrong, won't they?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all it takes is a quick look down the lineups, especially for the Danesfield, the Foley, the Diamond Jubilee, and I think it really speaks volumes for the quality of the sculling domestically right now, for sure.
Did you mean sculling in the UK is better than the rest of the world?
Yes. Is that not what I said?
Sculling in the UK is better than sculling in the UK.
Zoe, it's 5 o'clock on Thursday. You can't be picking holes.
At least I'm listening.
You are listening.
Yeah.
That's good. No, that is good. That was some sensational racing that we had across the Foley and the Diamond Jubilee. Windsor Boys, of course, they're looking just like Windsor Boys.
They looked incredible.
Marlow girls as well.
Yeah.
Oh, really impressive.
Yeah,
but also
good shout.
Tideway Scullers School. Another great race from them. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Marlow Scullers final, to be honest, in the DJ.
No, absolutely not. Well, that's to come later on in the week. Speaking of coming up later on in the day, I think there's a couple of races that we've got our eyes on. One in particular for me, I think, is the Brit, when De Hoop go up against Thames Rowing Club in the Brit. I think Thames coming in as 4 times previous winners, and De Hoop, I think, did a 6:07, I think it was, at the Hollenbecker or something in the Cox Floor, which is
insane.
Yeah, that's the correct word. But Zoe, what are you looking forward to either today or in tomorrow's roster of racing?
I'd say today. The Ladies' Plate, as I said, has my heart. It's my favourite event. And there's going to be a fun race this afternoon, Brooks versus Peterhouse Cambridge. The Peterhouse Cambridge guys, some great names in there, but I do not know how fit those boys are. So I'm looking forward to see how far they can make it down the track.
Yeah, I think the word on the street this morning was this was their first training session together.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I think, who's it got? We've got Tom Ford, Ollie Griffith, Tom George, Luca Ferraro's in there. I think Ollie Griffith switched sides mid-session.
Sure.
So it's all kicking off. But why is the Ladies your favourite event?
I mean, it's my favourite event because it was my first win at Henley Royal Regatta. And I just think the standard of racing is incredible there. And it's such a special... It's such a special event here, I think, because it's the kind of thing where often these crews don't get much competition in other places. So certainly the crew that I race, we were kind of, obviously not national team level, but we were kind of above the rest of the club scene level at the time. So this was like our pinnacle, really. And I think, you get these crews here who've a lot of them haven't really had much competition or haven't really been pushed, and then they come here and race in the ladies, and you just get this fierce racing going on.
Yeah, it should be so exciting. Lara, what about you, either later today or coming up tomorrow?
Super excited about the Queen Victoria kicking off properly tomorrow. So we saw some preliminary rounds early on. We saw UL race Reading, etc. But tomorrow we get the selector crews, so particularly the Dutch. Very excited to see Scholl race tomorrow, and the likes of the University of Bath as well. It would be great to see them go up ahead, I think, against Reading B. And then we also begin to see the depth of these Reading quads and how far they could go in the Queen Victoria. Really excited.
Reading A, B, C, D, E, F. Yeah, the full lot of them. I am assuming, I've just watched Syracuse go out and boat. I'm assuming that they are going to go out and win their next round of the Temple Challenge Cup. I'm excited to see what they can do as they advance through. And I think, no surprise. I think Newcastle against Oxford Brookes in the PA tomorrow, I think, should be absolutely exceptional.
Who do you think's going to win that?
Who do I think's going to win that? I don't know, Cambridge, someone, Oxford. No, we'll wait and see what happens in that. But tomorrow will be Friday of Henley Royal Regatta. It's my favourite day of racing. I think it's so exciting because all of the events come to life. The juniors, the students, the club, the intermediate, and of course the premier events. And speaking of premier events, we had Ollie Zeidler. He's out there on the course today making his crack to win a 5th Diamond Sculls Challenge Cup, and we're so excited to see how he can progress. But that's all we've got time for at tea time on the Thursday, if I get my dates right, Thursday of Henley Royal Regatta 2026. We can't wait for you to join us again tomorrow for the next episode of The End of the Island.